As the holidays gets closer, every founder feels that quiet inner tug. On one side, we know that we want to slow down, spend time with our families, switch off the laptops at least for a day, and maybe even take that longer overdue nap that we ever had, dreamed for. But on the other side, our brain keeps whispering to ourselves, wait, my operations are still messy, my delivery deadlines are still tight, and my pipeline is just half done. I don't know where to go with for 2026 when it opens and it's so around the corner, and I'm so not ready for it. And that's exactly where strange founder, duality stage that kicks in our life. We want to rest, but we also want readiness. We want to have family time, but we also want some freedom from this everyday chaos. Just deep down, what we want is the need, a proper reset, and before we step into the new year with full energy, full swing. But it's not always about more hustle. Sometimes about this holiday retro, a reset ritual that also we need, and that can probably help us and realign our systems, clean up certain operations, and gear up powerfully for the next upcoming year, without sacrificing our that holiday peace of mind and the family around, and that the joy and the little sparks of our life that also makes us what we are on the human end, on the founder end, and while growing and nudging and juggling with all around the roles as a particular human being that we are in, although we are more or less 80% of our heart lies in the foundership or the businesses that we are building. And that is where exactly our today's episode is all about. I'm going to guide you through a simple, structured, and founder friendly holiday reset framework. That exact is the process that I have used for my own business, and the same framework that I'm using when I'm working with other founders and companies, especially when we are building their sales, marketing and operations engine. But however we do that, we also have realized they are stuck, they're cluttered, and they also need that little bit of a cleaning processes, refining the people, and reshaping their structures for the entire org to grow. Well, I have seen this firsthand that it works, and what has really worked well so far. And today, that is exactly what I am opening up on this particular Bootstrap Banter podcast with all of you. So, I am your host, Pranali, welcoming you to this holiday reset ritual. And I'll walk you confidently in 2026 with clarity, calm, and the clean business engine that you are dreaming of. So, you have tuned to the right episode. If you want to know how you can do that very innovatively, how you can do that practically, and on top of it, gain something that you are really looking forward from this particular the holidays season. So first of all, if you are a founder, make sure that the holiday you are gifting yourself at least a couple of days of rest, and let's march down further on how you can balance and juggle all the roles that you as a founder need to take down. Yes, the world is slowing down in the holiday season. Nothing is breaking down. You're not gonna convert that warm lead into, the real conversion of sell. If you do, well, bingo. But if you're not, probably the companies are still, aligning their budgets and figuring out whether that is a business as a vendor you should get or no, or evaluating your proposals or whatever, which is just not in your control. So slowing down is fine. There is a noise that existed throughout till the November, where there was a huge deadline for you to push, meet certain revenue goals, meet or send something more to build your pipelines. But right now, that is getting absolutely at a low volume. Your phone is not that exploding because everybody wants to take their time out to retrospect their businesses to figure out, and that deep down that it is expected to be that way. Well, that's exactly why this time works for our life to get more and more oxygen. And during this time, instead of doing, we have to more about, spend that time on thinking. Well, we know all these things, but this is where I'm guiding you how this holiday ritual, we need to reset our goals, declutter our business engine, and enter into the new year with a growth ready mindset. So, the first and the most important thing is, of course, the review. There are three important reviews as a founder you must do in this season. That the first one I would say is the revenue and the client review. Identify that the profitable versus time draining clients that you have had in this year. And it's a very important and a very hard step, I must tell you, that we as a founder are actually, what should I say, we are actually overlooking, or we don't want to pay attention to it because that client has walked in the revenue to you. Yes, it is profitable, you need such clients, but also find out the places, or the processes that had actually made this a time draining engine for you when you're doing the client review and the revenue review that you are retrospecting. So find out those gaps and just jot it down and have those key action items ready to take it further with your teams, have the brainstorming session with them, because they can also provide you more on that. And that certain processes were aligned, but the probably the expectations from the other end were too high, and they kept pressing you, or you were not setting the right business boundaries for yourself, and that's why this kind of the time draining calls have happened, or again and again you have to go and prove to yourself that you could deliver. So wherever it is, just go ahead and retrospect yourself and figure out whether that is something is in your control, what is in your control and what is not. And then the next important thing is that is where that balance comes, no? Profitability versus the headache audit. Whether that was a pure headache in spite of defining your boundaries, in spite of defining the operational processes that need to smoothen out and the ease out, and work towards the output that you were supposed to give as a vendor or as a receiving end to the client. So you have to do this very practically brutal revenue audits to yourself and see where this falls in place. What are the categories where there is a high pressure getting generated? And those are something that you can avoid, you can mitigate, or it's gonna, continue, and you need to bring in more processes, more people to smooth out. So, what is that? That is the outcome that you're looking out from that audit. So, do that audit from that intentionality. And of course, which particular product line or the services have generated more money to you? What has really not worked well? Which revenue lines you wanted to open but have not opened so far, where you want to double down? All those brutal exercises you as a founder need to do. And I must tell you that if you are someone, in spite of listening to all of it, is still struggling down to put down things together, there is a free downloadable resources that we create for founders just to give them this extended hand. Just go to passionatepulse.com/free resources, or there are ebooks, where there are free resources for founders. There are like a lot of PDFs you can download and help yourself with these kind of structured retrospection as a founder you must do during the holiday season. If you have not subscribed to our newsletter, Passionate Pulse newsletter, go ahead on passionatepulse.com and subscribe to the newsletter. And these are certain resources that we keep sending bi-weekly basis to you, for you to get more benefits in your business, and not having to spend out that exclusive time and work on certain things in a very structured way. So these are like some of the resources that definitely helps in founders life to settle themselves, to bring finesse processes in their life, and growing their business in a right disciplined way. The next point, and a very important point when it comes down to review, is of course the operational wins and the failures. You have to go back and analyze what processes really helped us to gain the wins, to that have caused failures, and what really kind of slowed down. Maybe it was the way of you writing the RFP as a vendor to something and bring that clientele. That's where you were falling off. Maybe there was a misalignment totally what services you were offering and the way you are positioning your business, and there was a huge gap. And then you did not have any processes to do the right handshake with the companies that you're working out, or are planning to get help with. So list down your top 5 bottlenecks in terms of your super, super focused operational areas. Because unless you have that operational engine set, you really cannot march your journey. And as a founder, these are like some of the areas we tend to overthink, or sometimes it even goes to the blind spots, and we keep refining the operations again and again. These are like important steps you need to do when you are doing the review. So this is how the review or the audit needs to be conducted, and that's where I'm coming in the picture with this holiday ritual. Do the team reflection. What are your the high wins from the team? What are the skill gaps where your team needs more training? Whether your team needs some cultural or the mission alignment, maybe your team needs to, be giving more feedback to you, and you just don't have that open culture, or have not opened those gateways where this, team can bind and work together. There could be various ways to, have this happen. Just send out a survey that talks and, help your team opens. Maybe you have remote teams, or maybe you have different freelancers working with you, and they're just a fractional resources to you. Then just find out what are some of the rituals that you can inbuild, that you always have planned but have never executed, and how do you bridge that gap. Just have some open dialogues and find out whether your growth is not blocked by your goals, but it is, because of the gaps, or somebody has refused to follow certain processes, or there is no process to begin with, and your teams can guide you whether that is something that they needed as a, the C-suite executive of the office that they're working with, and they probably need that handshake too. So that's the first important review in these three areas. If you conduct, I think more than 80% of the battle you have won. The next and the important thing is, when all of that has happened, go ahead back to that clarity and the resetting goals way. Clarify yourself again and again whether whatever mission, vision, values that you had designed for your company to march, or building your products or building your services, are still the same, or you want to add or alter, or based on your experiences, you know that these things are just not going to work and they're not practical enough for you to take it further, or these are new values that you have encountered yourself. Maybe it's a customer satisfaction different zone that you had not thought about, and you need to become more pro, or you need to have more resources so that that customer satisfaction comes to you as a 5 star or 6 star review. What you must say, what you must preserve, what you must evolve, those are the places in terms of defining your products, services. You have to, just get clarity as a founder. Just retrospect on your business as a third person, and then see, whether that is what is reflecting, what is that, you know the advice that you want to give it to yourself in terms of a clarity, and just stick with it. Probably those are some of the right reflection. You're just not, having them let it out from yourself, and that's where you're, looking out that silent barrier, or burying yourself down with just something headed over with the head. However, the bottlenecks and this clarity that you really deserve to surface it out, it's time for you to do that. Well, prioritize, of course. We need to have that priority pyramid design. What are the essential revenue drivers that we have in our company? What must keep, even though you don't like to work with it, but that is something is breaking your fast and farming cycle. And maybe adding the operational legs over there and freeing yourself from that commitment can help and still build your revenue. It can probably invest more in your resources because you're hiring someone to get that engine going, but at the same time there is some constant revenue that keeps churning. Then what are some of the scalable enablers that you want to bring into the picture? Maybe this year you want to bring in more automation, more systems, more tools in place, so that the things become smooth, there is no fragmentation, the handshakes become smooth, and also your business appear more and more professional. And it is time to do that kind of an investment. Maybe it's time for you to think about this holiday season, find about those tools, figure out whether there are any, the holiday coupons for those particular automation subscriptions, some of the AI platforms, or can you join in those areas, some of the early launchers, early launch platforms in that emerging area that you want to fill in the gaps with. Become their beta customer, and still avail the benefits of those automation. So those are some of the very very important things to look at it as a scaling enablers, and it's worth investing that time, worth investing that research. And then, of course, nice to haves, only if the time and budget allows. What are some of the nice to have items that you would like to bring it and prioritize for the upcoming year? Maybe you want to have a nice to have people. Maybe you want to have nice to have certain projects, and maybe you want to work towards it, or maybe you want to give certain pilots for yourself, or bind to your new experiments in your era, whatever business that you are in. Maybe you want to experience certain technological experiment. Maybe you want to experience some different type of clientele. Maybe you want to adopt your particular product in different segments, so that you kind of create a different customer line for your product, and you want to double down further on that and give a pilot experience to yourself. So whatever that is, the nice to haves, which is suitable to your revenue, which is suitable to experiment and emerge, or build strong, or getting full work proof in the areas that you're looking out to. And of course, the plan, how you would plan is the focusing on your 90-day plan first, whenever the new thing that you're planning to do. Whenever anything that you're doubling down, finalize and refine the processes and operations. And of course, there is a weekly breakdown retrospection that needs to happen, especially when you're building out something new, trying out something new, the new lines. And you don't have some accountability partners in your own team members that you're building, and get that thing ongoing, and put it as their performance metrics for yourself, to reevaluate whenever that you have the retrospection cycles coming out. So defining that clear ownership in particular areas, defining that new accountability model for yourself to zone in and zone out. This is something is also a part of a planning that as a founder we often don't do. And then there is no delegation that has put in, and there is no stricter mechanism to stick with what operations or processes that you have defined for yourself. So just plan in all those areas and see how that turns out to be. Again, if you don't know how to do and carry out this exercise, there is a great guide that we have put it to passionatepulse.com. Just go to passionatepulse.com/, ebooks, and in the free resources, you will find out this particular PDF that will help you guide and do retrospection at a much faster speed. So just download that, print it out, and start literally just during your holiday times, when you want to switch off the laptops and sit with yourself, just use that pen and paper and this particular the structured block that will help you move faster. The third important part that I like to touch upon, or the tip that I like to touch upon, is building a strong pipeline while everyone else is on the break time. So building your audit on your pipeline, find out what were the cold leads that you ever had in that entire year. Can you categorize some of the leads as warm leads? Can you categorize certain leads as the new openings for your businesses, or the new openings for your product to get adopted to? What are some of the clear dead ends that you have realized even after tried hard to build that particular client, but it just did not convert? And what are some of those reasons that have blocked your pipeline? So, those are the things that you have to audit well for yourself. And one thing that I must tell you, like, send that year end light touch message to all these leads that have, probably have a potential to grow. Maybe you wanna help them tell what services you bring in and how you can ease out their life, how you can help their productivity to be boosted by augmenting your services or augmenting your product, whatever that you are looking out to, sell them. And you want to do that and come across as an authority in your field. You could use several content mechanism, right from the LinkedIn article of your company to newsletters to, of course, cold emailing and shouting out that wide and loud on your social medias. So that is a content strategy that you need to be ready with, the holiday content strategy. If not, this is a perfect week to do that and bring in and revive that roll in mechanism for the holiday content strategy. Of course, networking, there are various holiday parties are happening around Find out in your niche what type of holiday parties you can join and get network done. Build that slow and intentional partnership at this particular point of time when everybody is in the mood of, enjoying and being that, getting that festivity, the parties. Craft your January collaboration proposals or identify at least three important clients to whom you could send out these kind of proposals, or to whom you could, target in any which way to bring that lead. So just, be intentional about your action oriented steps, especially in terms of bringing the revenue. And that's where this, without overworking, you wanna still have this happen. And setting up your sales machine, of course, once everything is identified, setting up the process that you already have, the documentation, the proposal templates, the pricing sheets, the packages that you are gonna create, or whatever the kits that you are supposed to send it as an initial proposals to anyone, have those one pages ready too. There are different templates available, and I believe there are lots of templates that you can avail from passionatepers.com/ebooks free resources. But those are some of the templates you need to have. Otherwise, every time the new thing is coming up, you are planning to search what new that I could do. So have those branded material for your own company ready if it is already not in place, of course. The fourth and an important topic that I'm going to touch in this reset ritual is the personal reset for the founders. Do your energy audit. What has really drained you out? What is that must have in your shoes right now, so that you don't drain out in that particular operational or the task oriented way, and you save your energy and time for what really excites you the most, for what really needs your head and brain and heart to be at in order to grow well. And what you must stop doing, just identify that those areas, although you could save money just by doing certain things on your own. However, it is just not advisable. So, what you must stop doing for this particular year, and every year it's going to change. So, no matter, this is a ritual that every end of the year you have to do it. Maybe you have to, start delegating those areas and defining more and more boundaries for work hours, for delegation targets, for your well being and your CEO time every week and every day. I would say every day, 2 to 3 hours of CEO time or the founder focus time is must. So, how you want to get that done? And those are the boundaries that you must set up. Well, talking about the boundaries, I must tell you there is a workshop that we have designed, how to design your boundaries for your business, that talks about a lot in terms of how you define your processes, which processes to use, which templates to use, how exactly your steps should be to design the boundary, how you can establish the boundaries between your teams, between your clients, between your different vendors and the partnerships, and how you exactly do that effectively. Those are the things that we guide in that workshop. If you happen to listen to this podcast after that boundary by design workshop or masterclass is already done, I'd like to invite you to join on the wait list for the particular workshop to happen live in the upcoming year. If you are a person who cannot join the live workshops where there is an exact Q&A happening, where you're learning from your peers, and there is, setting up that network, and finding your accountability partners, it's just not within your scope of work or timeline. There are new recorded courses coming up on passionatepulse.com, which you can just avail in upcoming year, and I think they're going to help you. If you are someone who's looking to get the early access to those recorded workshops and get a great discount on top of it, feel free to list down, or just email us back at info@passionatepulse.com, and we can provide you the early access codes. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, by the way, the Founder Pulse newsletter, then it's time for you to subscribe to that newsletter, because that newsletter gives you a lot of coupon codes and very exclusive material that you otherwise are not going to find it on our website or on our social channel, but it is exclusively for our Substack members as well as for our newsletter members. So, you get that early access there too. And finding out that, the holiday ritual of reflection, planning, systems cleanup, reset with whatever things that we are telling you. Well, having said all of it, it's a very quick ritual that every founder must implement in the holiday season to get fresh energy for the upcoming year to March. And of course, going forward and building the company that you are actually looking out for 2026. So, if there is one thing that I've learned working behind the scenes with founders and the companies that we are working to help them build their pre-sales engine in marketing, selling, and gaining the revenue, which is the most bottleneck for most companies, I would say that momentum is created in these quiet seasons. Whether it's a holiday season, whether it's a time of quarterly that the founder is planning to take and reflect upon to themselves. The growth starts only when the noise is dropping and stopping, and it is a very intentional step that the founders have to do to stop the noises from outside world and get into the zone of growth and a clarity which is that brings as a part of that holiday ritual gift to yourself. So avail this opportunity to yourself and give that gift to yourself and bring that clarity for the sole business that you're building and bringing more revenue from it. This holiday, don't wait till the January 1st to feel powerful. Step into this new year already 10 steps ahead with the clear goals, stronger systems, and of course, refill founder energy bank and tank that you really need right now. Take that time off, do all these reviews, audits, and do it in a very structured way so that you get the output that you're looking out. You find out the blind spots and the gray zones in your business that is not working out. The ones that you need to double down, probably you don't want to put more of your energy, but finding out the operational ligaments that will work for yourself. So that is what I would, highly, highly encourage all of you founders. Pause, think, realign, even little, and share your holiday reset moments with us. What exactly you're doing, whether as, the help guides have helped you, just write back to me at pranali at passionatepulse.com. I would love to hear them out and, give you a shout out in the upcoming year. And if you have a business case study that can talk about with the particular holiday ritual that I have given you, the reviews, audits, or whatever that worked for you, and what exactly is, you see the shift in your business. Maybe it's a pipeline building that had shifted. Maybe it's a process that had shifted. Maybe it's a team building that had shifted, or whatever that you have realized through this. I would love to bring your story on the Bootstrap Banter, talking about your company, talking about your own name as a founder, and maybe reviewing with the case study. And if you're a founder, feel free to join Passionate Pulse podcast to talk about your business, to talk about your hardships, to talk about your challenges, and guide our founder focused community. How to get that? Just write to info at passionatepulse.com or ring us at 3412090102. And we are here to hear your stories. We are here to surface out your stories. And in 2026, we are adding a very surprising medium for all of you. So stay tuned to Passionate Pulse podcast. But before you go and enjoy your holiday ritual, remember big companies plan early, smart founders plan during the holidays, and passionate creators plan with intentions. So, thank you for tuning to Bootstrap Banter. Thank you for being a loyal listener to this Bootstrap Banter. Let's make 2026 year the full of energy, move with the clarity, courage, and with the clean system. Till we meet for the next episode, stay tuned to Bootstrap Banter. If you have a story, we would like to unfold it on Passionate Pulse founder focused podcast through all our mediums. We have a deep driven marketing engine and the branding engine for the founders and the companies. Make sure you avail that. And well, while you focus on your holidays, also stay passionate.